What will you be remembered for when you're gone? What will people say about you? What legacy will you leave behind? When they say Rosina St. James, yeah, I remember her. She did X, Y, and Z. Or will they say Rosina St. James? I don't remember her. To illustrate what I mean by legacy, let's do a quick quiz, and I hope that you'll help me out with it. So who sings, "Who Run the World, Girls? Who Runs the World, Girls?" Beyonce. Who was the first female Prime Minister in the UK? And who is known for this movement? Ow! Michael Jackson. Now, what I'm saying is that you don't have to leave a legacy as big as MJ, Beyonce, or Margaret Thatcher. But we all have the ability to make a difference. Even if it's a small one, we can all leave a legacy. Over the next few minutes, I will be giving you 3 ways that you can all start using in order to build your legacy. The first way I believe you could start leaving your legacy is by understanding the value of your determination. Being determined to see things through. Has anybody ever heard of that saying, it's not how you start the race, but it's how you finish it? That was my story. When I was at school, my teachers used to label me. I was known as the motor mouth, the person who got detentions, and I was always the person who never did my homework, which used to annoy my teachers quite often, as you would imagine. I then went to my careers advisor, my good old careers advisor, and I spoke to her, and I said, I really want to be a politician, but I don't really know how to get there. I spent a good 20 minutes with this careers advisor, pouring out my heart and my ambition. She was sitting there really interested, typing away, writing away. But I knew she had heard about me. She then said to me, okay, Rosina, I've heard what you had to say, but I think you should reconsider your career. Reconsider my career, I said. She said, maybe a job in Tesco's is more like you, stacking shelves. I was like, okay. I made a quick exit out of her office. Crushed, admittedly. Crushed, but still determined to press through. A few years later, I met this careers advisor, ironically, in Tesco. I spoke to her, and I went up to her and said, do you remember me? I sat in your office, I was a politician, and she looked at me of students all the time, but she remembered me specifically. And she asked me, what are you doing now? Not expecting anything. So I told her, I now study at the London School of Economics, one of the best universities in the UK and also in the world. She was shocked. Then she asked, well, what are you doing now, part-time job? Are you working in Tesco, you know? I said, no. I now work in Croydon Council. She was shocked. She went as red as this carpet. She apologized, but I said, there's no need. But one piece of advice: when the next student comes into your office with their dreams, with their ambition, please do not crush them. You could have crushed mine. But in that time, I made a decision. And that decision was to follow it and be determined to follow that dream. So, value your determination. The second point that I'd like to give to you is understanding your identity. Who are you? What are your strengths and your weaknesses? What makes you, you? If you don't understand your identity, you'll end up copying someone else's and living their dream, their ambition. Your identity is the most valuable thing to you. Take some time to understand it. Embrace it. Make it be yours. I went to India for 3 months. Within India, I spent a lot of time thinking about who I was, finding out what makes me tick, what gets me annoyed, who I was. I took that time out to really understand who I was. So I came back to the UK, started university, and things started to roll ahead of me. I was like, wow, what's going on? I started winning awards. So while I was at LSE, I was the African Caribbean Society president, and I won 3 awards there. Then I became the chair of the British Youth Council. And then I was then told I was one of the most outstanding young people in the UK. I was confused. Couldn't understand how this happened. But I believe that it was taking time to really understand my identity, which is what helped me. The question is, do you understand yours? Understanding my identity led me on to my third point. That is finding your passion. What is really worthy of your pursuit? I mean, what is really worthy of your pursuit? If you don't understand what is worthy of your pursuit, you may start pursuing a career, something that will make you successful, but inwardly, you're unhappy. There are a lot of people in the world that are inwardly unhappy but are very successful. You don't want to be like that. I'm reminded of a time that my dad, I have the most amazing parents. Everybody thinks they have their own amazing parents, but mine is truly the best, can I mention? But my dad said to me when I was younger that he wanted me to become a doctor. The trouble with becoming a doctor was I was rubbish at science. I hated the sight of blood, and hospitals, oh, they smell. And I didn't want to be in that environment. But I always wanted to make my dad proud, as I'm sure many of you will probably want to make your own parents proud. So, it came down to choosing my options for university, for college. I went to pick my options. And then my dad said to me, honey, darling, I want you to become a lawyer. I was like, what? Did you not want me to become a doctor? My dad said, no, a lawyer looks good. So I said, what? From that day, I decided that I would follow and find my passion. So I found out 3 things that made me passionate. One of them being injustice, how people are being treated. Another one being young people when they're not filling their potential. I wanted to do something about it. So, valuing my determination, understanding my identity, finding my passion were ways that helped me to understand the legacy and to help me to start building on that legacy. I leave you with a short story or something that's actually real that happened to me this week. I went to a funeral this week, and on the front of a program at the funeral, you have the date that the person's born and the day that they died. In between those 2 dates, there is a dash or a hyphen. That hyphen represents their journey, what they've achieved, what they've accomplished over the last X amount of years that they've lived. What will you do with that dash? What will you do today that is different from yesterday with that dash? So at the beginning of this talk, I asked you 3 questions. What will you be remembered for? What will people say about you? And what legacy will you leave behind? Thank you.